And welcome to the event stream. I am Kevin Lyons. I'm the CEO and Chief Solutions Officer at Lyons Solutions. And I want to welcome you to a very special episode of the event stream where we're going to be doing a walkthrough of Run the World, the all-in-one platform, and through the optics of event producers. What does this look like? Would this be something that we would use in one of our events? And possibly how would you go through a platform and take a look to see how you would use it? Some of this is going to be a little blind. We have not set up a lot of things on Run the World today, so we're going to be learning together as we walk through it. So we want to again welcome you back to the event stream. And this is where we share with you a lot of our expertise and experiences in events. We just finished a 8-week episodes on the event stream on the successful blueprint of your event success, and we invite you to go back and catch those replays there. So before I go too much further, I do want to thank our sponsors. We are sponsored by Ecamm Live. We're broadcasting on Ecamm Live today. We have a lot of things coming up. We have iPhone cameras coming in. We have a lot of different screens coming in today to do this unique show, and Ecamm allows it all to be pulled together. So just to give you an idea, I'm running a Canon EOS R with a Sony ZV-1 through an ATEM Mini Pro. I'm using the Stream Deck to help some, but this is how I'm like cutting in between scenes on the ATEM Mini Pro. Well, that can also be done within Ecamm Live, but I'm using Ecamm Live using NDI sources across 4 different Macs today, just to bring in some different perspectives of views, not to mention an iPhone that's connected as well that we're going to show you some of the app control that Run the World has. So Ecamm Live is all there. TubeBuddy, I call it the fertilizer of YouTube. So if you have a YouTube channel and you want to grow that channel, you definitely want to check out TubeBuddy, and we have some links that will be in the descriptions below, and of course a shout out to our Lyons team. So we are Lyons Solutions. We do a lot of different things other than events. We do startups and growth hacking and all types of fun things, but we love events. And actually, I'm so excited. I'm going to my first live conference as an attendee this weekend in Orlando, and I might do some behind the scenes footage of there I'll share with you in the future. But as we go through this whole phase of virtual events, right, we had to become platform experts. We had to know everything that was out there so that we can bring the best of class back to our clients and to our internal shows that we do. So we've looked at many platforms, and there's over 300 platforms out there, and we're like, you know what? Let's take this season and do an episode on taking a platform that we've attended Run the World Today events. Agora Pulse had one of their summits on there. I do know that Leap into Live, Ecamm's event that's coming up in September, is going to be run on Run the World. And we're like, let's just go through it kind of blindly and evaluate it. And we're going to be looking at it from a couple of different perspectives. Perspective of sponsorship, registration, marketing, ease of use, attendee experience, but also hybrid. How would we use this in the hybrid space? So let's take a look, and we'll give you an idea of how we evaluate platforms in the Lyons Den and on the event stream. We'll see you on the stream in just a second. Hey, Amy and Brittany, how are y'all doing today?
Hello, hey everyone. Doing good.
Doing
great. Good to be here.
Great. We've had a very busy week as we are starting to evaluate our 2022 events. Now, we still have a lot of great events left that we're producing in 2021, including a 4-day mega conference. And we're taking a look at a lot of different platforms on what is it that's going to bring us the best in class. Now, last year for our major 4-day conference and for a lot of our other mini conferences we had, we came up with a solution of kind of our own recipe using WordPress and Meeting Pulse, as well as just a lot of different things built together for a custom solution. And now we're evaluating for August. So we have a little bit of a runway. It's May 26th. So we have time, probably about a month, to solidify the new platform that we're going to use for August, and it may be the same platform. So it's always exciting digging into platforms, though, and things are definitely changing, aren't they?
Yeah,
yes. I feel like you have to constantly be on your toes with what's going on because it's forever evolving. So even if we feel like we have the right platform, there's always a new one right around the corner.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
For sure. And it's, and just full disclosure is this is not a polished event stream presentation today. This is the three of us kind of going through the journey of exploring Run the World today. We are not sponsored by Run the World today. In disclosure, AppSumo had a deal going on with a lifetime subscription for Run the World. Unfortunately, it's expired, but keep an eye out. Occasionally, they come back and offer them back up. So we purchased our own license of Run the World to kind of explore through this, this platform to see if it could work for one or more of our events. And hey, the Groundwater guy. It's good to see you in. And he's saying, I'm having challenges getting Ecamm virtual camera to show up in Run the World. It shows up everywhere else, but not Run the World. Very frustrating. Well, maybe we'll take a look at that a little bit later and see if we can get our virtual camera working in Run the World. I do know one of the things with Run the World that I was a little shy about was I like sending an RTMP signal from Ecamm directly to Restream or Vimeo or some other platform. And that is one thing, and we'll get into the details of Run the World here shortly, but that's one thing that Run the World I see as a little bit of a limitation, is not being able to send a straight RTMP feed. So as a result of that, and this is what the Groundwater guy is referencing, is you have to use the virtual camera, which thank goodness Ecamm Live has a virtual camera option, and we can send this type of stream into the virtual camera. But there was a limitation of 720p on their virtual camera, or on Run the World today's virtual camera. And later in the show, I'm going to share with you a hack on how you can get 1080p that we discovered. So with that, Amy and Brittany, I think let's talk through a little bit about our approach when we were looking at platforms. And I think first off, we need to say, okay, we are looking at platforms right now. We are shopping. Lyons is shopping for platforms for our multi-day conference that's coming up in August, for some of our individual 2-hour and 3-hour programs that we do, all of which we do registration and engagement for. We're also looking at a platform. We have a fall virtual summit that we're doing a little bit later this year. And then we do a myriad of other things, educational programs and stuff like that. So we're looking at from a couple different lenses, and forward thinking into early spring is, what do we want to introduce from a hybrid standpoint? And that's hybrid is a whole nother beast as we start stepping back into in-person meetings. So Brittany and Amy, what are some of the strategies and thinking mindsets that we go through as we start looking at platforms?
Yeah, I would say that we have to begin looking at what we did before the pandemic, or what did you call it yesterday? Kevin, what was your word? Something dumb?
20 dumb.
The 2020 dumb. I like that better. Pandemic is so 2020, so we'll say the 20 dumb. We have to kind of look at what we did before to take a look at how we can do things better in the future. So looking at things in the hybrid space, we're going to have to make sure that we can attend and staff and support that event virtually just as well as we can in person. And so some of the platforms that I think we should kind of take a look at are platforms that kind of are already forward thinking in that and starting to realize that there's features that they're building in, knowing that there is a live element to that platform, to that event as well. So I'm kind of intrigued to see how the event industry virtual platform has come, to see how the innovation that's come out of it.
Right. For sure. What about you, Brittany?
No, I love that. I think kind of going back to the show we had a while back of the platforms, I think it's really trying to evaluate what do you want out of your event and what's most important to you. So for us, we had a handful of things that were really important to us, including attendee experience, engagement, sponsorship opportunities, right? So I think still those things really matter no matter what platform or format you're looking at. So for us, I think it's just foundational pieces that are always consistent.
Yeah, for sure. And when we were doing our search for platforms for our big conference last year, and this was, March, April, right when we were pivoting and there's the P word, as we looked forward to August to produce this conference, And I mean, of course, you go through the layers of Zoom and go to meeting and go to webinar and, all the different, paywall platforms that are out there, crowdsource or crowd something. Anyways, there's all these different webinar-ish type platforms. And then we started getting into things like Hey Summit. And Hey Summit was actually a contender for us. And then we started hitting some limitations. Now, one thing that we won't do on the event stream is we're not going to bash any platform. We're not going to, tell you everything that sucks about the platform. We are, though, going to highlight limitations as it pertains to our clients. And so, for instance, with Hey Summit, we found that the branding was real limited. We were in a highly regulated, regulated space where we have pharmaceutical companies actually sponsor some of our medical conferences. And so we had some rigorous requirements, being able to give them customized branding control and not having certain logos on the screen when we're doing accredited education. So, we started looking at like Hey Summit and some other ones, and we started to get real kind of claustrophobic on not being able to change a lot of things when our brand position for our live events. So we were taking our live brand position, our live experience, attendee experience, and trying to reshape it and reimagine it into the virtual space. And so when we started looking at these platforms, they're just all limiting. And then we've decided to go with the custom solution with Meeting Pulse, which is an engagement platform. So you can use Meeting Pulse as an all-in-one, but it worked better for us as an engagement strategy. And it gave us ultimate brand control. So much so that we started shaping or leading the industry that our client is in virtual events for their experiences. The problem with that is now we're heading back to hybrid and we're heading back in person. So now we're having to keep the memory of our live events, all the innovation of our virtual events, and then move them forward. So I don't believe that Run the World today really bills themselves as a hybrid event per se, but we can definitely take a look in that. So with that being the case, let's just take a look at Run the World today. This is their website, and our goal is today is to just orient ourselves with the features that they have, also talk through some of the options they have as far as features and upgrades and different levels of support, and then also we're going to set up an event and hopefully actually turn on the event and see what happens during that time, as I still have not bought my new headphones. $30, and I just have not placed the order. Okay. So Amy and Brittany, we kind of did a little bit of research on this. And so Run the World kind of talks through, when you go into their solutions, you kind of first off see they do happy hours, talks, and conferences. One of the unique things I think with Run the World is it has this networking feature to where you can pop people in roundtables or together in rooms and stuff. And I've heard some mixed reviews on how people like that. Not just Run the World, but just the whole idea of having your camera turned on with some other stranger from an event popping into a room, and it's almost like popping down and having speed dating type of things. It's for somebody, but it's not for others. I mean, Amy, I think you were in some conferences that did some of that, right?
Yeah. And I think it's a really interesting thing, right? Because psychologically, I don't know if it's because we just don't like to look at it, see ourselves virtually, because in person, you're doing all of these things. You're eating in front of people while you eat lunch,
Totally.
like some of these. And so it's really interesting to kind of think about kind of reminding people of that level of comfort and being reminded of that. And then it kind of takes down that vulnerability where you could be vulnerable virtually and say, hey, this is a really cool way to connect. And I think that they're really interesting. It kind of reminds me of when we did it for one of our clients when we had an advocacy summit, and we came up with the strategy to do speed networking at the advocacy summit. And it really is a fun, impactful way to kind of get people to engage with one another and in a short time frame. So I personally think this looks like a really cool feature on Run the World.
So so you got happy hour, talks, and conferences. It looks like they're kind of showcasing Seth Godin, of course. That's a great person to showcase. So happy hours, easy to host networking events and team socials, chat one-on-one, small groups, talks. Sounds like a little bit more like a webinar type of thing. Conferences would be probably more of what we're looking at, multi-track events and so forth. Of course, they have tons and tons of street cred on there. It's a very fast-growing group. So let's just take a look here real quick at their happy hours. So it kind of looks like you get paired up. This is what we were kind of talking about. You get paired up with different people, and you get popped into a room. And I think you can control how long you're in the room with them.
Yep.
And so you can gather a group, greet your guest. That might be interesting from a kind of a networking thing for like maybe exhibitors. Maybe they could meet that for sponsors. They have this cool thing called a groupie, where all of the attendees can take a selfie, and it puts it together into one big picture, which I think we'll see that a little bit later. So that's like a cocktail party, a round table.
Kevin, do you see how it says have authentic discussions? If I may, I'll say the reason why the founder came up with Run the World, which I thought this was kind of interesting, is her mom was a physician and was on a conference somewhere and had met somebody in person and said, I want to be able to speak and interact with these people virtually. And so that kind of inspired them to create this platform with nothing but a virtual connection separating you, right? And so I thought that was really cool, that was kind of the inspiration behind the platform.
That is really cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
So it does present itself as a all-in-one tool. Some pros and cons, and this is just from our point of view. This may be perfect for a lot of people out there. Like I said, Ecamm Live has their Leap into Live on this platform, and definitely keep an eye out. I'm actually speaking at that event, so we're super excited about being a part of that. And so it's great if you want that all-in-one. We, though, have a lot of platforms already in place. We use things like Thrivecart and Infusionsoft or Keep. We have our database there. We have our own automated marketing campaign formulas that we use for event registration and attendee engagement. So we would have to kind of make this decision of, are we going to replicate all of that on Run the World and have the all-encompassed all-in-one platform and utilize all that, which if you're starting out from scratch, this may be a lot easier than setting up a MailChimp or all the different pieces that it takes, or even Eventbrite, to kind of do registration. So registration, we'll take a look at that and see the value there. Now, branding and insights, custom theme colors and branding, generate emails to attendees and speakers, download attendee emails and insights, download chat and comment transcripts. So here's a couple of things that happened with this last year, is because we were leading our industry with using Meeting Pulse and a custom-based website based on WordPress and all this other stuff. For a while, we didn't really want people to know what platforms we were using, because we were trying to have that breakout moment of bringing things, like Ecamm and everything else back to our industries and really push things forward. Today, though, I think that's different. And that's part of the reason why we started the event stream, is start sharing some of our logic and our thinking and kind of behind the scenes and revealing some of the details. Because now I believe, content has always been king, but really it's the experience. It's the content, the experience, the speakers, the presenters, how you leverage the technology, how you leverage the tools, that is actually more valuable now than having any secrecy around what's in the recipe, if you will. But with that being said, one of the limitations that I really saw with Run the World so far is the branding. They have their logo quite a few places on the platform. Now, a lot of other platforms do that as well. So it's not the end of the world, no pun intended, if you're wanting to run the world. But I would like to be able to see some other options. I'd like to see a white label option to where you can remove all of their branding. And it's not just to keep the technology under wraps to where you don't want to share what you're using, but there's also a lot of impetus on brand positioning, to where when we have our client out there, we want you to see all the purple and green. We want you to see the icons and the logos, and to where you can actually immerse the client or immerse the attendee and the sponsor into the brand experience. So, things like custom URLs and so forth, being able to have a custom domain name versus just a custom URL. So with that being said, we did find out, Amy, that they do have an enterprise version, I think, that has the option of white labeling.
Yep. I was just going to say, yes, the enterprise does have that option. And they do also have the ability to customize the URL. I do not know about the domain. We'll have to check into that.
I don't think they have the custom domain name worked out yet. Okay, so let's kind of keep going because we want to get into the behind the scenes on this. The networking, yes. Sessions, up to 10,000 attendees. Now, that's based upon the level of platform you go into. And this is something that's a little, to me, kind of, I don't want to use the word misleading because I don't think it was intentional. I think it was an innocent comment. Okay, so you have multi-session and multi-track events. The level that we bought in at has a limit of 3 sessions, and there's something funky about how they limit their sessions on there, and you have to pay them for additional sessions. We'll go through the payment grid here in a moment. Live Q&A, sure. Integrated polling, you have to. RTMP streaming. This is what, like the ground water guy mentioned, there's no RTMP. What they mean by this is you can stream out of Run the World Today, an RTMP stream to, let's say, Restream or YouTube or Facebook. However, you cannot stream into Run the World Today currently. So I see that as a big thing of not being able to bring your own RTMP stream, which means that you're leveraging nothing but a browser for the streaming for that. Of course, download event recording, sure. Sponsor shout out, sponsor booths, and sponsor insights. Hopefully we get far enough into this we can show you the sponsor shout out. It kind of brings up this little balloon on top of the screen and says, hey, thank you, sponsors, type of thing. All right, so let's look at pricing real quick. So, world-class features available to every event. Yeah. Customized scheme, color, a lot of those things. Cocktail party is kind of unique. It's a networking thing. So here's the crux of it. For free, you can host an event with up to 50 attendees. Paid registrations are unlimited, and then you have 1 session per event. See, that's kind of odd, right? You can only have 1 session. I guess you can have an all-day session, but we'll look at that. A cocktail party up to 3 rounds, a number of length of events unlimited. Okay. For Pro, which we kind of have a Pro AppSumo type version, you can have up to 500 free registrations. And what they mean by that is after the free registrations, they're paid registrations. So we'll go through that when we look at the ticketing page. It'll make a little bit more sense. Cocktail party unlimited, number of length of events and so forth. You get everything free, plus downloaded detailed attendee demographic information, registration survey, Zapier integration. Okay. Download poll results, chat comments, live recording, and downloading. So really, free doesn't work for any of our professional, events.
Right.
We had start at Pro, but would probably end up doing an enterprise solution if we implement them in a bigger way.
Do you feel like free would be good for someone that wanted to just host like a maybe trial mini social night just to like see if they like the platform?
Yeah. I mean, for sure. And, something that we do is we take the Lyons team a lot of times, there's 13 of us, and we'll actually produce like a networking, we're a virtual company, so we'll produce some type of get together or gathering, and we would take a platform like this and say, hey, let's do it on Run the World Today and see what the experience is. So that's something to take a look at for sure. I'm thinking with Zapier integration, Amy, we could probably, it'd be interesting to see if Zapier integration pushes to Zapier or receives from Zapier. So that would be something I would want to look at as far as some of those connections.
Yeah, I was just going to say with some of the integrations, luckily we are very familiar with Zapier, but I would be curious to know exactly how. They do have in the roadmap that they don't have exactly published to say that they're working on more integrations, and that if you guys like specific things that you want them to do, to send in a request to prioritize what those integrations look like. So yeah, hopefully Zapier in the meantime would suffice.
Yeah. And so I'm just looking at Zapier's, integration here. Just basically says, it integrates. Okay, so here's the trigger. So you can have a new attendee signed up for the event, triggers when a new attendee signs up for an event created by you. Okay, so this seems like we could probably use Zapier as the registrations come in to Run the World to send that registration data into our CRM, right? You know, you can press it to keep or whatever via Zapier, you know, in there. Okay, so, all right, you know, we'll give them that. Registration survey, let's see what that's all about. That's a video. Let's not take the time to look at that. It's probably just a survey, right?
Yeah, I thought it was, yeah, actually, Kevin, Brittany, I don't know if you saw this part of the platform, but it is so that you can just do random surveys right in there and have metrics and reporting at the beginning of sessions or different times. So it's kind of nice that they've integrated a survey tool into their platform outside of just having to do SurveyMonkey or something.
Yeah.
So it looks like this is custom branding that they have going on now. But this is on the business, that enterprise version. So it looks like they're showing the custom URL, but it doesn't show a domain name. But it is showing you here where they are taking their logo off. So it'd be interesting. So $79 a month does not get you this. I'm guessing their price point is probably going to be a few $100s a month. You know, I mean, what we've seen at enterprise level platforms is you're going to pay somewhere between $5,000 and $15,000 a year for like the entire thing that's out there. So it may not be for everyone. I'm not saying that that's the pricing, but I'm guessing that that's the pricing. We'll probably do a follow-up. We'll probably get an RFP out to them and see what they come back with. Sponsor logos on event page, so it allows that. Okay, so let's not dig into this video. Let's go into the back end here and let's play with an event. So you can also publish your events and they can be publicly findable. One quick thing, this right here. So this is a little bit of a rub with me, just for our clients. Is up to 500 registrations for free, but then you can have unlimited paid ticket registrations, but you have to process those tickets through Run the World today. If you look here, they're going to collect a 15% processing fee. So if you have a $100 registration, $15 goes to them, or a 4% if you're in the business program service fee on ticket revenue. Minimum $1 fee paid per ticket, $1.50 minimum, additional 2.9% Stripe fee. So you're actually at 15% plus they're using Stripe as their merchant account, the payment processor, and you're going to pick up that 2.9% as well. So if ticketing and registration revenue is a big piece of your pie, this may be a consideration because you're going to pay $79 a month or more, and still just, you know, keep in mind if you're expecting, for easy math, 1,000 people to attend at $100 a piece, you know, what is that? You know, 5 zeros, you're going to be giving up, you know, 15% plus 2.9% of that. Now you'd probably be giving up 2.93% of that anyways for your own merchant account. So just be mindful of that ticketing piece.
Kevin, just to kind of mention, as we're creating this event and kind of taking a deep dive in this platform, I saw that you could actually let Run the World know once your event is live in their support, and if it lines up with their audience, they'll actually help promote your event on their live Run the World billboard or somewhere. I don't really know how that works, but I thought that was really interesting and kind of a nice feature too, is some built-in marketing.
And that is a one-time use code, so if you tried to use it and hack in my account, good luck. So, all right. I think so. This is the actual event creation screen. This is the back end. You can see, and another unique thing is Run the World today currently does not have multiple users that you can attach to an account. So that becomes a little bit of a challenge as well, because like with us, we would have sometimes 5 and 10 of our team members backstage working on the account. So I think what their solution is you have to set them up as speakers, which allow them some access. But ultimately, you know, it puts you in a position, I haven't read the terms of service, but, you know, it puts you in that position of where you're sharing a login. And we don't really like doing that. We're big fans of licensing. I'm a software developer by hobby. And so we're really strong on license the software. Okay, so you have events. This is kind of an interesting thing. They have office hours, great customer service piece. So actually today at 2 to 3 p.m. Pacific time, you can actually go in and jump into office hours. Payment and billing. Okay, integrations. So you can use your Facebook Pixel ID, which is great. Let's say you're having a Facebook ad campaign, and you want to target them and see what your ad, all your KPIs surrounding your ad response are. Conversion metrics. I think Brittany, you might be breaking up a little bit. Google Analytics, you can put your UA code in, and then of course you can set up Zapier. And so let's jump back into events and let's create an event. What do we want to do? You want to go ahead and jump into conference?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm guessing happy hour and stuff like that would be all those fun things. Talk versus conference, not really sure, but let's create a conference. What do we want to call our conference?
The Event Stream Summit.
Love it. Maybe a reality coming soon.
We'll see.
Okay, in the description, the best summit for events. Sure. All right, so it looks like you have tags. I'm guessing the tagging in here is related to probably if they do pick it up and categorize it, maybe?
I don't know. I haven't actually seen that part. Brittany, did you see any of that in your research about the tagging? Oh,
maybe
not
not.
sure. Yeah.
So
I'm not sure.
Right. So I put in virtual events. So this is going to be, oh goodness. Pick a category. 10 minutes later. Let's call it, I don't know. Goodness, science and tech. There we go. And then we need to set up a date. Now, just for fun, in case we can pull this off, it's 12:31. I want to set the event date up for today, the 26th, and I'm going to say that we're going to start this event. We have to pick on the half hour. So 12:30. Let's try to start the event at 12. See if we can customize it. 12:45. See what happens. The end time for the event, we're sure. I'll keep it 3:45. You can choose time zone, visibility, public, or unlisted. So this is where if you do not want Run the World to pick up your event, you can choose here unlisted. We'll just keep it unlisted because we're just playing around with this. All right, let's create the event. Boom, we're done. No. Not hardly. All right, so now we come to the next screen. Now we have the choice of cover media. I don't know. I think we're just going to kind of keep.
You can just grab our thumbnail, even YouTube thumbnail.
Yeah, let me grab that here real quick. See how many things I can expose privacy of all in one click.
Yeah, exactly, right? Or you could just keep the one that's there. That's actually
let's just keep that one. That'd be a little faster. All right, so we have the RTW thing. So we're going to go next. All right, so here's an interesting thing is because Run the World is both an attendee platform and an event platform, I already had an account there from when I attended Agora Pulse and some of the other, the events out there. So it pulled in my account information as the event organizer, which is kind of nice. But at the same time, I would almost like to have a different account that would be, this is my event organizer account, and this is my non-event organizer account. And it looks like Brittany's taking a quick break. So Brittany will be back. And so here I can choose whether or not this is a keynote speaker. And I'm not sure if that would, I'm not sure what that really means. So we'll choose it. I'll be a keynote. So let's add another speaker in. So Amy, you are presenting.
I think it just shows up in the agenda that way. And Kevin, while you're doing this, I'll kind of share a workaround while they're working out that multiple user moderator. I thought it was really interesting that when you actually go on camera, you can turn off your camera and mute, and that will make you disappear as far as like a speaker goes. So that's how they recommend you doing moderator. So like everybody on the team would be still added, like Chloe would still be added as a speaker, but then she just would never turn on her video or unmute. And then she's able to be in the back green room, moderate as needed. So I thought that was kind of a cool tip that they know that they're working on that, but there's a great workaround in the meantime.
Cool. So here we go. That's that. And I'm just going to put Amy at lyonsds.com, sure. All right, let's just start with the 2 speakers. And all right, so now we're into tickets, and this is where a couple of things that you have to work through. So first off, you have free tickets. Now, I had the thought, okay, so they're going to charge me 15% for all of my paid registrations through Run the World, so I'll just run all my registrations through our existing platforms, and then I can take a attendee list and paste that into Run the World. It's not a bad approach, but they have a catch there. Well, now this is because I have a paid account, but I can only import 1,000 tickets at $0. And they do that so that you still, as soon as you go into their regular tickets, that is when you have that percentage. You can see back here again, we keep a commission of 15% or $1, whichever is greater. So you can also have multiple ticket types. So free to attend, you can have an early bird ticket. And I'm guessing that there would be a date attached to that. You would have a regular ticket, and you can have a VIP ticket. It looks like the VIP tickets still have a $1 amount back. So let's just do free to attend right now, $0. You can limit that. Welcome to our event. All right, now, agenda. This is where the sessions are. I'm still getting my head around the sessions. So it pulled in me as the keynote speaker already. Let me see if I can zoom this. Because I chose Keynote, it kind of like defaulted that. So there are a couple of different options here. And that is, hey, there's Brittany. Welcome back. Let's see here. And alrighty. So a couple of different options here is you can do a talk. A talk is the best way for a single speaker to engage with the audience and members, presenting real-time information by creatively using different tools. Okay. You can do a fireside chat. It's designed for sparking conversations between speakers, guests, and attendees through a live Q&A. You can do a cocktail party. And that is, remember in the beginning, you could actually do a cocktail party as the event itself. This allows you to do a cocktail party as a session of the event. So that's interesting.
Yeah, Kevin, one of the things that I like about the cocktail parties is that you can just set one up. You can change the names too now, but that you can just set one up. They don't have any surveys or registration. It's just kind of like, hey, I'm hanging out, come join me kind of thing. So that's a great on the fly kind of networking thing that if it wasn't part of your event, you can do a standalone piece in addition to putting it as part of your agenda. I thought that was really cool.
No, that is cool. Panel up to 8 guests to stream live together, as well as create attendee breakout rooms of 8. So that would be, pretty interesting. And then a booth, set up your virtual booth, and this is for sponsors. This is like your virtual exhibit booth. But it's interesting that that is part of the agenda, right? So I guess that's how you would fill it out. But let's maybe start with, I kind of like fireside chat. And here we go. It is we're going to change that to today. So it didn't pull in that our dates are today. So let me change. Oh, it does not like that we're going till 7. So I'm just going to change that to 2, see if it fixes that.
Yeah, and sessions can only be like an hour and a half per session, I think, or something like that.
Okay. It's kind of freaking out on me here. So let's change this to 12:45 and end it at 12:55. There we go. So 10-minute session.
There you go.
So there we go. 12:45 to 12:55. I'm going to be a moderator. Now I can select Amy as a guest speaker. Okay, interesting. Description, this is my session. Control who can join. So this is pretty cool to where it allows you to choose whether you're passcode holders or specific tickets or passcode types. So here I can choose, anyone who's free to attend. I can choose my early bird. I can choose regular VIP. Okay, that's pretty cool. If we change to a passcode, we can actually come up with a passcode, which this might be good if you are giving away sessions like, you're using Facebook to bring those sessions in or something like that. But for now, let's just keep it like that. I'm going to add one more session. Then I'm going to jump in to test these sessions and just kind of play a little bit in the background of it. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to add another one just because of time. So So there's our sessions. And I'm going to click on test session and let's see what happens. All right. Oh, nice. Wah, wah, wah. Okay.
Well, what's it say, Kevin?
Wow, I'm on Safari.
Anticlimactic.
Okay. So there's a big limitation is you have to be on Chrome. I'm not hating that. So give me just a second and I will set up Chrome. So Amy and Brittany, talk to us about what you like so far about this.
Yeah, what I really like about it is I think the group fee is a really cool way, to kind of take a picture. I know a lot of times people are trying to take like pictures all at one time, and it's fun to do the whole selfie in front of your computer or whatever. But I like that they gave you like almost like a word cloud, a group fee kind of feature where the speaker is like at the very front and then everybody else is there in kind of smaller bubbles. And then they give you social media integration to be able to engage and share that as well. So I think that's a really cool feature. What about you, Brittany? What do you think?
I like that. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, good. Definitely struggled there for a few minutes with some tech things. So glad I'm back.
Live.
Yeah, it happens. I think there's a handful of features I like. The group fee is cool. I like the idea of being able to like break out into either those small rooms where you can like connect with a few people. Me personally, the one-on-one makes me a slight nervous, but I feel like I would do it just because of like the sense of trying to like network. But I like the small group ones, and then the one-to-ones are really cool too. I think it's a cool feature for exhibitors. They want that one-on-one connection with somebody. Like they're missing someone coming to their booth. So that's probably one of my favorite features. And then logistically, I wear my operations hat in this conversation. I like some of the ability for the speakers and like the ease of getting them in and their email being right attached to their profile. It makes it really easy for them to get that email and get right in. I know for us, as we've talked about through our production conversations and speaker conversations, that we do a lot of communicating with them via email and then getting them into Skype rooms and things like that. And that works well for us, but it does sound attractive to have their email put in the platform and it's kind of taken care of from there.
Yeah.
For sure. So I just switched over to Chrome. It did recognize that I had an account open in Safari and wants to know if I want to keep editing this. So I'm going to say yes. I'm guessing that's going to take over the other account. Okay, so we were basic information. We were into the tickets. We were playing with the agenda. So now...
Kevin, did you add a sponsor or where did we leave off
I
there?
did not yet. So I just wanted to jump in.
Of course, I have to ask about that.
Yeah, let me jump into the session. Okay, so setting up on your devices. You can switch your devices before joining the talk room. Okay, so now you want to use my microphone and you want to use my camera. Lovely. All right, so I can choose, that's my virtual camera. Now this is going to be interesting because my virtual camera is currently being used in production here. So I am going to jump into this camera. Yay, you can see my dirty office. And you have microphone. I'm going to keep it built in. And I'm not going to use that. So give me just a second. There, now you can't see as much of my dirty office. Okay, I'm going to click on I'm ready. You can't switch your camera or microphone after joining. Okay, so now I'm joining the room. And there I am. So I'm now live on the talk, but the talk is not published yet. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and exit back out and let's publish this event, and then I'm going to open up another computer and take a look at the attendee experience of it. And I know this is not an exhaustive walkthrough, but this is kind of like as we were stepping into this event, what it might look like for you as you're starting to, trying to start an event. Okay, so this is now published. I'm going to enter this event. Here's my talk. I'm currently speaking. Good to know. And I'm going to click on preview. Actually, oops. I need to add a attendee so I can have that join in. Okay, so back here, let's go back and manage the event. Keep editing. Tickets, attendees, register attendees for free. Okay. Kevin.attendee. Okay, we're going to register this one because I have that account open on another computer. So let's see here. Upcoming events, see if it worked. Okay, so I'm going to switch real quick to my MacBook Pro. This is the attendee view. And so I'm going to go ahead and enter the event from the attendee standpoint. And so we can see here that the Event Stream Summit, and you can tell it's the attendee view because it has a lot of features gone. So it says preview. So it looks like I can preview in. It wants me to introduce myself. Okay, so it looks like it's jumping in. It's fine. So this event starts in 3 days. Did I mess up the time?
I don't know, but Kevin, are you showing the screen with your attendee or?
Yeah, this is the attendee view.
There it is. Okay.
Yeah. So that's the. I'm sorry. You know what? There's the attendee view.
There we go.
Okay. So now the attendee is in, and it's saying that the event's starting in like 3 days. If I switch back to the presenter view, I'm going to click on I'm ready. Whoop. Oh, I have to change.
That was funny. You can mute the background music. They have a feature there that allows you, while you're waiting, to mute the music. Yeah, so if they don't like your playlist, Kevin, they can...
they can drop my playlist?
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm here. I'm going to click on Go Live on here. So I'm going to say Go Live. I'm not going to record the screen. Smile and get ready. 3, 2, 1. And so I'm live now. But does my attendee see that I'm live? Oh,
no,
okay.
we would not like.
Oh, I think you broke up a little bit there, Brittany. So now this is back on the attendee view. Okay, so the attendee view now sees that I'm live. Now on the attendee view, I'm going to click on this engagement and see what happens. Okay, so you can start seeing, this is kind of like Meeting Poster where you can actually throw some engagement up.
Yeah, I thought that was
cool. Okay, so let me come back to my actual, this is me presenting on here, and I have some different options here. So I can share my screen, I can stop video, mute mic, I can manage the mic. So this is something kind of interesting to where I can send the mic to another attendee and invite them up on stage. What do we have here? Ooh, I have music intro. I can do a poll, a stretch break, call to action.
Yeah, Kevin, click on the stretch break.
Oh boy.
It's like our yoga, but only they have somebody that's already doing it, and it's like pre-canned for stretch breaks.
Okay, so here we go. I'm kicking off a stretch break.
Isn't that neat?
That is funny. Okay, so we're going to end that. So this is the group fee sponsor shout out. We don't have a sponsor, so I can click on manage event. No, I don't want to exit the room. So I can click back on here and let's add a sponsor real quick. Yes, keep editing. Agenda. I guess you add, oh no, wait. Here we go, sponsor. So I add a sponsor. I gotta refresh this page. Keep editing. Okay, it doesn't like something. Let's see here. Okay, so I have to start with the HTTPS.
Okay, that's what that says. I was going to say, I cannot read that.
All right, so you can do a logo. I don't know if I have a logo handy for anything.
We have here.
I'm hearing some feedback. Do you guys have us playing?
Yeah, I'm getting some kind of feedback too. I'm not sure.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to publish that sponsor. Oh, they want the logo. Fine. Yeah, so this is a little different event stream if you're just joining us. We're actually going through a walkthrough of a platform. I have just the logo. There we go. Called Run the World Today. And so I'm adding a sponsor in.
Yay, they'll be able to see the way that the sponsor shows up. That's one of the things I really like about this platform, Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like it's in there. So now let's come back here and I'll do a sponsor shout out. See, it doesn't like me adding that in on the fly.
Oh, so it's not already, it would have to be like in a new session.
Yeah, see, it's making me go into new sessions and stuff. So, all right, so sponsorship, is not quite as easy as what we thought. So you probably need to have your sponsors in ahead of time. Here's the group fee. I'm not going to try that. Add donation, share video, call to action. It looks like the call to action is, sign up.
Yeah, that'll pin it up to the right-hand side, which is really kind of cool.
Okay, cool.
If you have any resources for your talk, or if you want to give like the slide deck or something of that nature, then you would be able to, as the presenter, put that up there.
Gotcha. So it's actually pinned up here in the comments. And now if I go to, I'm going to go back to the attendee view. And if I go to comments, there it is. So it's actually, pushes that. And I can say, hey.
And that's where it's really cool too, Brittany, when they were doing like Slido and different integrations, they would be able to ask them to take surveys and do different things right there, Kevin.
Right.
And say, okay, click over here and interact with us for like a word cloud or something of that nature. I thought that was kind of neat.
All right, so here's where you can set up the roundtable discussions. I mean, this platform has a lot in it. I mean, I have to give it, there's a lot of functionality. You have polling, you have the roundtable discussions right here. I'm eager to talk with them to see if we can remove the Run the World logo, right? And what that costs and what truly the cost of Run the World Today is. Let's go back and let's go into our theme color. So it looks like we can brand the colors on there. And let's try one more thing, and that is it does have an iPhone app. So one of the limitations that I find with Run the World Today is it does not have, you cannot use it on a mobile device. You actually have to use the app, unless, Amy, you found some other way of working around that.
Yeah, actually, I have not. I did contact enterprise, support to kind of get some more information. I know that you can get that label to be custom, but I don't know the dollar amount. I think it depends on the metrics when you call in their support, or when you send your email in. They ask you how many people and when your next event is. So I think it's kind of determines the price point is based on the size of the event. It's kind of my.
I have my iPhone attached. I'm going to go in, just take a look to see what it looks like here.
Okay.
So we have the event stream. It looks like we have an about page. We can look at all the speakers. We have the attendees, the agenda. So here, that is the session that I'm currently running on another computer. So I'm going to join in. I'd like to connect to my devices. Sure, I'll remove that later. And it's saying, hey, look. Join in. Okay, so I'm joined in. Now, why does it have, oh, you know what, it has me live because I'm logged in as my as my user. So let me leave that. So okay, so here's a look at the app. You got about, agenda, speakers, and attendees. So I think some takeaways of this, and it looks like we may have lost Brittany there for a little bit. As live that happens. Mm-hmm. So I know this was not an exhaustive walkthrough, but I think some things that we learned, as we started going through this, is first off, if you need a all-encompassing solution of I think that it does a great job on engagement. I think it does a great job on the ability of adding a different layer of things like, the yoga stretches, the donation, the call to actions. There's a lot of things like that. If you take advantage of it as an event producer, something that we find often is we put in platforms and they have like all of these bells and whistles, and we never really fully take advantage of them. We end up just really using them to stream, to chat, for polls and some things like that. What are some of your favorite things about it as we kind of wrap this up, Amy?
Yeah, so I think that it's really cool that you can really get a one-stop shop event set up in no time flat, right? That they pretty much put everything on the user experience there to set up. I love the fact that they've offered features that don't require you to be a part of the event. So like that happy hour and that cocktail party and those things. I love that they're making those customized so that maybe, certain nonprofits or faith groups maybe not want to call it a happy hour or something like that. So they're adding more things in about that. So I think that's really great. I love the fact that the sponsors get so much attention. When I was kind of reviewing this platform a little bit before this call, I like how they, you can shout them out at any time, which is what you kind of demonstrated there. But then that when they are shout out, they're there and then they're off, but they get that prominent placement. So of course, as the rainmaker here, I love to see that element as well.
No, for sure. I do think that you do need a little bit more training. When we were trying to add in a sponsor while the event was in motion, which that does happen occasionally, to where we'll have an event in motion and we'll have a sponsor, be in as an attendee and say, hey, you know what, is there still sponsorship opportunities? And, most of the time we say, yes, of course there are.
Yeah.
So we'd have to figure out how to add in sponsors a little bit tighter. We would need to spend some more time looking at the booths. And in our reality, I would say for us to give a rigorous platform, consideration, we probably collectively as a team will probably put 10 to 15 hours into research, for that platform. Amy's team will kind of take a look at a lot of the marketing and sponsorship pieces. I'll guide a lot of the production questions. Brittany's team will go through from a compliance and education and content standpoint. So I don't want to give the impression that today was an exhaustive walkthrough. This is really just like how we're looking at these platforms and what they could be used for. So I'm happy I bought the license for Run the World Today. I have some ideas of some use cases, if we did a smaller summit or something, especially if we did something that was not already established, like with our primary client having a very large database and CRM and Infusionsoft and Keep and all these other things are already in play. I probably wouldn't use it for a larger event, but if you're doing like a one-off, like Agorapulse has an upcoming event, their agency summit, I think it's perfect for that, because they are familiar with it. They are able to stream to it. Of course, now with that 1080p hack, which I'll show that up on the screen real quick. Jennifer, it is so good to see you. It's always great to have Jennifer. You on with us, and we appreciate you. And then, hey, JP, man, I haven't seen you in a while. We've been so busy. I've been a little quiet on some of the communities that are out there. So, no, so good to see you as well. So, as we look at that 1080p thing, let me just kind of pop that up on screen. So, 720p is the camera resolution that their virtual camera can bring a presenter in, and it's a little 720p to me sounds okay if you're in maybe a panel discussion to where you have smaller pictures on the screen, but not if you're screen sharing. And also, I love Ecamm Live, but Ecamm Live, the graphics, it has nothing to do with Ecamm Live, but Ecamm Live, you want to bring in all the graphics like you see here, the logos and all that stuff. When you do it at 720p, it loses a little something. Facebook does some interpolation of it, which is not bad, but it loses a little bit of something when you're streaming 720p. So you want that 1080p. So I'm just going to set up a quick text here. I'm just using a text overlay in Ecamm Live in preview mode so that you can't see me setting this up. And give me 1 second. And
Kevin, I did see that I think they're adding or have recently added the RTMP.
are you sure it's not, because they had RTMP for sending the signal out, but are they having it to receiving the signal in?
This is why you're Kevin Techie. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't even know what that means.
I think they only send the signal out with their configuration. Okay, so this is going to be a little techie here. So I found this hack. So if you're using Run the World today and you want to use 1080p, this is the format. When you send a link to your speaker to come in to join the program, you kind of send them this link of www.runtheworldtoday.today/app/webinar speaker ? And a little coding for you. That question mark sets up a parameter. So anything after that question mark is sending data to them. Now, meeting ID equals 57160. That is actually the meeting ID. This is a fake number, but that would be your meeting ID that Run the World would give you this URL. And that would end the URL. But if you want to use 1080p, add an ampersand, so that actually says this parameter plus the next parameter, and the next parameter is lowercase video, capital P, lowercase profile. So video profile equals 1080p space 1. And I'm sorry, that's not space, that's a underscore. There's a line there because it's a hyperlink, so it's an underscore 1. That is the trick on how to get 1080p video into Run the World today. And we're going to be testing that offline and just taking a look to see how that works. So
they're going to want to replay that or screenshot that. That was gold, Kevin. I mean, these little tips and tricks are really, really interesting. I mean, especially someone like me who's a little techie, but nowhere near techie as you. You always have a solution.
So here's another thing that you might want to take a look at is and I'm pulling up the URL here really quick, on AppSumo, even though the special is gone, the lifetime registration for Run the World, and let me just cut to this camera here real quick to show you this before we wrap up. And we're going to see Brittany's missing face, but still. She had some technical issues, so no worries, Brittany. We'll catch you next time. All right, so on here, this is appsumo.com/run-the-world. If you come down to the bottom, this gives you a lot of good information and details, but down at the bottom, it has all these plans and features, and then it has reviews and questions. I would take a good read through all of these. There's a lot of details in here on how to do things. Now here it says, is RTMP streaming supported? They say yes. However, it is supported for outbound, not supported for inbound, which normally Ecamm Live or OBS or vMix, that's how you would send that signal, or with Restream. So anyways, and take a look through all of the reviews. Just some really good, straightforward reviews there that you can kind of lean on as you're making some decisions on whether or not Run the World is a good solution for you. Well, with that, Amy, that is a wrap for today. Again, a walkthrough of Run the World, catch the replay. If you haven't seen the Blueprint to Success, take a look at some of our previous videos that you can find on our YouTube channel. And stay tuned. We have some exciting things coming up for the event stream as we take a look at more technology, more strategies, and more experiences that are out there. Amy, any wrap-up final words for you?
Yes, I mean, have a safe Memorial Day weekend, everybody, and we will catch you on the stream next Wednesday.
And once again, we just want to thank our sponsors, Ecamm Live, TubeBuddy, our team at Lyons. I also encourage you to take a look at the Ecamm Live website. If you go to ecamm.club/shows, you can see all the other great shows that Ecamm supports and sponsors. And so with that, we will see you next time on the event stream.